Hello, Mail here, and I'm back with another episode of this. I did look this up online. A couple the majority of the stuff I had right, the yes and no's for the most part. Some of the conversations I had wrong, and some other stuff I had right, but then I made them wrong changing them. So let's see how this is.
We must have made an error, Watson.
How did I make an error?
The question should be answered yes or no, and justified by the evidence or testimony received during the investigation.
Okay. 1. 1 is yes. 2 is no. Let's see. Is there multiple, Let's see, there's one with Patterson. There's one with Patterson. Maybe this one does it.
It is simplicity itself, Watson.
See, they have multiple.
We have answered all the questions.
No, I tried my best to do it, but my problem was I should have read through all of them, so I might have to cut to read them all, because I don't want to have to do all that while I'm recording. It just seems
My dear Lestrade, I congratulate you on the precise quality of your notes. It is true that you have missed everything of importance, but you have spared me the trouble of eliminating the trifles and pointed me in the right direction. I hear familiar steps on the stairs. Please be seated, Watson. You must be famished. Lestrade was kind enough to bring a copy of his notes, hoping it would be of assistance in this affair.
Indeed.
We already know who the killer is.
You
Why
can
do we
study
need
them
notes?
now and enjoy your meal. Please take your time, Watson, because bad digestion weakens our ability to reason.
Holmes, you will get no argument from me.
Eat those papers!
This dish is delicious.
We will go to Sherringford Hall with Lestrade when you're finished with your meal.
Okay.
I must read the documents Holmes gave me.
Okay, do I go in my inventory and read the documents then? Let's read them. Oh, I have to burp. Why do I have to burp when I... Pardon me, I'm so sorry. The crime. Report of the crime. Before 11 o'clock in the evening, Sir Bonsby, engineer, architect, and contractor of renown, was slain by a single gunshot in his mansion. The crime, the author of which is still undetermined, took place in the ballroom during the arranged by the victim in honor of his daughter's shut-up horse. She had spent the last several years finishing school on the continent. Despite the presence of 100 witnesses, there was 100 people. I only talked to 4. No precise testimony was obtained regarding the exact circumstances of this act. Nevertheless, based upon the certain evidences, blah 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 blah, it goes towards the daughter. Instrument of the crime, a bullet extracted from the corpse of the victim, corresponds to the caliber of the revolver found in her purse. This purse, found on the floor, was near the door from which Miss Lavinia Bonsby first appeared after the mortal shot was fired. Although witnesses agreed that the sound of the shot was near the very same doorway. The revolver is a small bore, which is also a highly reliable weapon. This would explain why the only shot fired was mortal. Okay. Despite the distance of several dozen feet and difficult angle. Miss Lavinia, is it Lavinia? I can't fucking remember her name. Claims that the victim personally gave her this revolver. Oh, yeah, okay. Before the crime, which means her father gave it to her. For the purpose of her protection against an unnamed threat. The account can be supported by the fact that these models are impossible to find on the continent where Miss Lavinia... Is it Lavinia? I'm fucking her name up. Has spent the last years. Premeditation can be excluded if she is found to be the murderer. A motive. The victim, even if it had been few or no friends, still might have enemies capable of committing this act. His strong unpopularity among his domestics was compensated by the attractive wages he paid them. This business partner spoke of him as a tough but fair player, according to the... I can't even read those. The fact that he spent long years in India and was solely devoted to his business, any crime of jealousy or passion. I'm having trouble reading some of the letters. Finally, and now it's just all blurring together. I need to get closer to the I'm going to say closer to the microphone. Finally, It doesn't correspond with typical revenge of killing or that it is that except through things that do. I got to sneeze too. The motive that must apply to his holdings or something quite personal. I wish they would just use normal font. Comic Sans for once. I would go with that. Another line of reasoning that points to his daughter. According to H. Grimble, the partner of Sir Bomsby, her relationship with her father had become strained. That Sir Bomsby visited his daughter only once during the past 6 years. Local constable must contact Mr. Fowlett, attorney of Sir Bomsby, in order to recover the essential parts of his last will and testament, if it exists. Reading! Development in regard to the distance and the angle of the shooting, it would be reasonable to suppose that only an expert marksman could have succeeded in making such a shot. But the factor of probability still exists and admits other possibilities. The testimony of the group of cabmen, who were they were drunk though, in the ideal place to have observed such matters, saw no leave through the service door after the shooting up until the time of which the domestics locked it from the outside. All windows are equipped with thick bars and ferocious. That's not ferocious. Of maid at the stairwell indicates that no one extended to that floor. The testimony of Miss Lambert, the governess, indicates that she noticed only 2 people absent from the ballroom absent from the ballroom during Sir Bomsby's arrival. Mr. Horace Fowlett, the victim's attorney, and Miss Lavinia Bomsby, the domestics. Those are the 2 people they saw absent from the ballroom. The domestics have been specifically instructed that all the guests were to be present during Sir Bomsby's entrance. Maybe he had himself offed. I mean, he wanted everybody there. I mean, I don't know. I have been persuaded by all accounts that anyone who had left the ballroom had returned before Sir Bomsby's entrance. Since Horse Fowlett hasn't gone through the gates of the mansion in the hall, the only person whose movements were unaccounted for at the time of the shooting was Miss Lavinia and Sherlock Holmes. The chivalrous testimony of a young infantry officer who had confirmed that he saw her standing in the threshold of the door can be the only reason for not charging her with murder. As Miss Bomsby was in the state of deep shock last evening, according to the local doctor who examined her, her interview was delayed until today. Sorry for all the reading. I didn't know I'd have to read in this. Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh, subtitles, please, Lord. Police report. General information about the man called Sir Bomsby. No official involvement as a defendant in any criminal or civil matter. No appearance as a witness in a criminal or civil law code. Is that right? No, that's case. Complainant as to a robbery committed at judgment of the court was on the crown. On the crown? So he was a complainant. That's not complainant. It's complainant. As to a robbery committed at a fair stand in St. Bartholomew on July 1861. Judgment of the court was favorable for the crown. Oh my gosh! Okay, I know I have trouble reading, but that is chicken scratch. That is what a doctor gives you when he signs your prescriptions. That was so difficult for me to read. It just looks like a whole bunch of circles and lines. There's no letters in that whatsoever. That was horrible. I'm going to clap for myself. Because that was the worst thing ever. I'm also going to do a screen cap. Put that on. Yeah. Oh, geez. Oh, there's one more. Oh, no. Here's all the information that we know about the late Sir Bombsby. Born in 1842. That means when he was 20 years old when the fair thing happened? Because it was 1861, right? Of a modest family. He finished his studies in architecture. I almost said agriculture. And civil engineering, owing to the scholarship and financial assistance of his elder sister who owned the florist shop. Maybe it is art. No, it's not. After he was awarded his diploma, he was employed by a small firm, which he later left for a large enterprise, the Salinger Company. 100 years later, in 1872, he was sent to India to assist in the construction of a bridge for the army at the end of his At the end of his project in 1874, he left his position with Salinger and founded his own enterprise in Bombay. At that time, he courted. Oh gosh, is that Charlotte? No, Carlotta Campbell. It's Campbell, the second daughter of Colonel Campbell, OBE, commander-in-chief of an important local garrison. The military appreciated Bombsby's straightforwardness, or is it appreciated? I think it's appreciated. Bombsby's straightforwardness, forwardness, and business acumen. I think that's the right word. Thus, the army entrusted him with many contracts for conspiracy. No, conspiracy. I'm just making up words now for this. I know conspiracy is a real word, but I just added it there. Constructing barracks and other types of work. In 1877, he was married to her. His business flourished, and he hired a young accountant, Mr. Grimble, who later became Bombsby's personal assistant. An ideal candidate for the position, Grumble excelled at his various administrative tasks. Sir Bombsby's business had continued to prosper for over the years. In 1879, Carolina Bombsby... No, it's not Carolina. Why did I say Carolina? Bombsby... Carolina Bombsby something Campbell died giving birth to their daughter. Bombsby's business enjoys great success. However, the fact that he has been awarded nearly all of the Army's contracts has aroused the jealousy and suspicion of other British businessmen in India. It has been rumored that he gained his fortune through the exploration of his India laborers. Oh no, exploitation, not exploration. I'm having such a hard time reading this font. I know it's supposed to be like cursive, but gosh. His fortune through the exploitation of his Indian laborers and British workmen. Poor working conditions and miserable wages. Oh, please, there's more. No. In 1884, upon learning of the death of his elder sister, he decided to return home and prepared the transfer of his business interests to England. He also invested his money in several cement factories? Does that say cement? Yeah. Everything's just going together, which permitted him to reduce his costs further and thus increase his profits. In 1891, he sent his daughter to a study shut-up horse at the finishing school near St. Moritz in Switzerland. It's Mortis? She had just returned to England several days ago. He was awarded a knighthood in 1892. There are several cases where his name has been mentioned because of suggested fraud with his contracts and ill usage of convict laborers at his factories. Such practices are common in London business circles, and his wealth allowed him to avoid security by the courts. Gonna be honest, bad word ahead. I thought it said cunts. God, is that sign management? The person who signed that did not write this. Thus, when his behavior is weighed within the current Damat of commercial morality. No, it's climate. That looks like a D. He is neither angel nor demon. Assuming his business assets are included, his current fortune would be measured in the tens of thousands of pounds. That would make him one of the wealthiest contractors in Britain. I wish you good luck in this case. Thank you so very much. I want to thank everyone who went through this. And if you pause the video to read it, then move on to the next part, I'm completely happy with that. It's just this font is horrible. To me, it just looks like a whole bunch of scribbly lines. There's no words there. It was very difficult. Oh, Holmes, you should have read it.
All this is very interesting.
No, it's not. It's boring as shit.
According to the evidence, it seems that the shooter was not in the ballroom or the corridor. Where was he?
He was under the table.
Are you
Because the
finished,
tablecloths
Watson?
were
Shall we
longer.
go? Let us return to Sherringford Hall.
Wow, we're going back? Yeah, it had to have been under the table. Because it was probably that French guy. Oh, you know what? It was probably his partner, Mr. Fatty McGee, who's Grumble or whatever his name was. But yeah, the tablecloths were longer than normal, so someone could easily hide under it and wouldn't be noticed, unlike the blue ones. And with the table positioning, he could easily be in that H part, that one that was across. He could hide under there and just go pow and shoot him. But yeah. Let's go back. Solve the crime, game over.
Cabby!
Sirs, please, go right in.
Why do I have to come back? I already know who the murderer is.
Please wait here, gentlemen. I will see if Miss Lavinia is receiving callers. She's in her room.
Of course, Lavinia. Or Lavinia if you prefer. Is she here? Can I touch you? Oh no, I have to burp again. Well, she's not here, I'm leaving! Oh, I feel bad that I have to burp. I hate when I have to burp during episodes. I try my best not to. There has to be something on the ground around here. Someone was underneath the table. This place is so empty. Now I can talk to him. That didn't pop up when I was next to him.
Well, Mr. Grimble, I didn't expect to see you here at this hour.
I am worried about Miss Lavinia, needless to say. I also thought
Watson's
I might
voice,
learn
yeah?
something of interest about the investigation. This difficulty, if it persists, can do great harm to the business.
Before I continue, I need to do this. We're gonna have a little game, okay? I'm taking something out of a plastic baggie. And I'm gonna hold it up and I'm gonna fiddle with it. Guess what it is. Okay? If one of you can guess what it is, and I'll give hints in other episodes, if you can guess what this is, I will give you a shout out on my channel. You can, if you're a winner, I'll PM you, and if you want me to quote something, I will. Nothing too bad though. But yeah, I'll give you a little shout out if you can guess what this is. I'm gonna play with it right now. Actually, I'll give a clue right now. This particular item, the company was gone now, and now the company's back. These things are pretty sweet. Alright, if you can guess what this is, I will give you a shout out. I thought this would be fun, and I want to eat it when I'm done recording this. So yeah, okay. Let's see. Strained relationship.
Sir Bromsby and Miss Lavinia had rather strained relations, it seems.
Well, Sir Bromsby and Miss Lavinia have never got on very well. Of late, their distance had grown due to the influence of several incidents.
Incidents?
What sort of incidents, precisely?
I do remember one instance in India, where Sir Bromsby attacked a friend of Miss Lavinia. He was our native cartman's son. It seems he spilled a jug full of water that was intended for Sir Bromsby to wash his face. Bromsby began cursing and thrashing the boy before his daughter's very eyes. Miss Lavinia took her friend's part and spoke to her father most rudely.
The devil, you say? What occurred next?
There is no one in the whole of India who would have dared address Sir Bromsby in such a manner. He stayed closeted in his office for the entire day.
I'm going to open it.
The next day, he fired the carter. But despite these incidents, I am still sure that Miss Lavinia sincerely loved her father.
To make this a little easier, it's round. Okay, I'm going to set this right here. I'm going to send it right here, and I'm going to eat it immediately upon finishing this episode, which is right now. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next episode. I hope someone figures out what that was, and I'll give you a shout out. I'll get you your own video, actually, talking about you if you'd like. I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.